All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to this special edition of Guru Guidance. This is episode number 3. We have for you today my good friend from college, Austin Fig. This title of this webinar is How to Live Off of Your Passion Selling Beats. So let me first introduce him. He's from, his website is called onestopits.com, one spelled out. And I'm just kind of going to go through how the whole process is going to work. So I'm going to first do 2 polls that you guys can take on the right-hand side. We're going to be giving a few free bonuses during the webinar at the end. So make sure you stay on for the entire event. And then we're also going to be, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to type them into the chat box, and then we'll answer them at the end. And then also, you'll get access to the replay. So if in case you have to leave soon or something happens, you can know that you'll definitely get the replay in your email. All right. So the first poll we're going to do is on the right-hand side. It's, who are you? And we're going to start the poll. So if you are a DJ, producer, DJ and producer, manager, PR agent, media press, or you just love everything that has to do with dance music or music in general or other, choose which one you are on the right. And this just kind of gives us an idea of who's in the Hangout and who's in the webinar, just so that we know how to gauge who's here, so that Austin knows how to answer the questions more specific to the people who are on the webinar itself. All right, so it looks like we have 2 DJs and producers and a producer only as well. All right, Austin?
Got it.
All right. So thank you guys so much for participating in the poll. We also have another poll for you. And this is, how did you guys hear about this webinar? So if you can, the poll will show up on the right-hand side. Just enter in how you heard about it. I forgot, it should say Austin, not Emmett, sorry. Just if it's Austin, you can choose that one. If it was word of mouth through social media, Webinar Jam, or another source, or it was through me, you can select the correct option on the right-hand side. And just FYI, there's a delay on the polls, so hopefully, I think they should show up by now. All right, awesome. And if you guys are an other, I'd love for you to let me know how you heard about it. As other, you can just type in the chat so I know exactly how you guys heard about it. All right, thank you guys so much for taking the poll. So we have one person who heard about it from me and another person who was an other. So there you go. All right, and we have the chat box is open. If you guys can just let us know where you're from and just introduce yourself, say hi in the chat, that would be great. All right, so let's get right into it. We have for you guys today Austin Fig. Again, he's from onestopits.com. I'm going to be asking him some questions, and then at the end, if you guys have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat box and we'll go over them. And then again, there's a bonus, so make sure you stay tuned until the end. All right, Austin, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that we get to do this.
I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
No problem. And you can just tell everyone about your dog behind you. He's going to be jumping in.
Yeah, my little Maltese Melody, she's at the door right now. And yeah, she may photobomb me a couple of times here, but we'll be all right.
All right, cool. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, Austin and I actually met in college. So that's how we know each other. And his story is very similar to mine in a lot of ways, but it's not about me. This is all about him. So Austin, if you could just talk a little bit about your history and how you actually got started in music.
Well, music's been a part of my whole life. I come from a family of musicians. My dad has played drums professionally for quite some time now, and my mom has been singing for for 40 years, I'd say. So it runs in the family, and I come from a background of very supportive parents when it comes to music. So as far as that was concerned, there was nothing really holding me back from pursuing it and wanting to be a part of it. And it really was ingrained in my life. I mean, if you look at baby pictures of me at not even 1 year old yet, I got these huge AKG studio headphones on. It's just, I was a cassette tape player at a really, really young age. It's always been instrumental, so to speak.
Awesome. And you told me that you started first playing keyboards before you went to college. So you started that in high school.
Well, you know what I did is I got into the idea of making beats without actually getting my hands dirty. In high school, I showed an interest to it, and my dad has a home studio, so like he had the little demo version of Sony Acid loops. So I like tinkered with that a little bit, but if anyone's familiar with that demo version, it's just got a bunch of stock loops in it that you just drag and drop with your mouse. You can only make so many things out of it. It's funny because the loops that you hear on that default Acid Loops Lite thing, you can hear a lot of those loops on like the background of these reality TV show beats and shit. It's like these guys don't do anything to it, which is it's funny sometimes. But yeah, I was just messing with that for a little while, and I only really started to show a major interest in it and want to actually do it as soon as I graduated high school. So I was 19.
Okay. And then I know you said you initially went to University of Hartford, where we both went to school for audio engineering and production. Tell us about how that went and what kind of happened for you in college.
Yeah, so I went. All right. Well, reason why I went to the audio engineering school in Hartford is because it was like kind of the safety from my school. My grades have always been very mediocre. So I've always been like a 73, 75 student. But anyway, they offered an engineering technology program there, not production. I couldn't get into the production program because you had to audition for it. So you had to be able to play piano, and you had to at least have some experience with like putting a beat together and how it works, which in my opinion, I thought was kind of weird. Because if somebody has an interest in production, you would think the college course would sort of teach you that from the ground up, but it's all good. And I'm glad I picked engineering because engineering goes hand in hand with music production, and you're going to want to learn engineering so that it makes you better at not only mixing your own beats, but when the time comes when you're ready to start recording artists and stuff, at least you've learned something and you have experience with doing that, so you're not completely in the dark. But yeah, I got into that because I was interested in it, and I thought it would only help me. And I ran into a little bit of an issue with pursuing that because, number one, in order to be in the audio engineering and technology school, you had to do physics and electricity class, and I was terrible at both of those classes. So by my third semester, I was getting those warning letters, like, if you don't, do well in these two classes, we have to kick you out of school. So I was like, shit. And at that point, there was no way that the electricity and physics classes were going to get any better. The professors were the same across the board. I wasn't going to get a different person. I wasn't learning it well. It just wasn't for me. So in my third semester, I transferred majors and I switched to the Barney School for Business, just so that if we're going to be really honest, I just did it so that I could at least pass some classes and graduate. And at least I'd have a business degree. So, like, plan B, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, my story is similar because when I initially applied to the Hart School, they told me I needed to, the same thing like you, I needed to audition. And I was like, but I'm trying to go for like artist management. And apparently, I guess I applied for the wrong position in the school, because technically the artist management, I forget what the term is, the same thing, that actual label, you didn't need to audition. So I ended up going to Hillier, which was the liberal arts school, for 2 years, and then transferring to Barney. And then, you know, I did the same exact thing, really. Like, I ended up switching what I was going to do. So I totally feel you on that. And I think it worked out for the better. And, you know, we got to go to some classes together and be in the Barney School, which I think, you know, give a good foundation for business. But I would say I've learned a lot more on my own. Probably same thing with you as well. Do you agree?
Yeah, not only do I agree, but I'll just add that, you know, if people are still in college right now or whatever, I'm 28 years old. It's been 5 years since I've graduated from college. You just got to get that piece of paper, bro. And if you're focusing on something that actually means something to you and that you're passionate about and that you want to pursue as a career, and that's something that going in a certain department of your school offers you, then definitely do that. Then you should be doing that. But like, it's hard to say. I'm on the fence because, you know, it sparks an entirely different conversation just with how much debt everybody's in lately and stuff, and society still telling everybody you got to get this degree or whatever. And it's proving in today's day to not be, you know, very beneficial. But don't want to go too far off course.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, so talk a little bit. So you graduated college, and then you started your company. What were some of the problems that you faced initially? I know we discussed it a little bit beforehand, but let everyone else know kind of your story of how you created One Stop Hits and all of that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'll start by saying that the problems never end. So that's just something as like, you know, when you're starting your beat selling website, and really just the journey as a producer in general, the problems never end. And when things get better success-wise, there's just going to be new problems that are attached to that you're going to be faced with later on. So and that's the beauty of it at the same time too, right? Because we want to be challenged, and we want to be able to overcome like certain roadblocks that come our way. And I think, you know, I like to believe that all of it is by design, and that, you know, it's the true test of our success and longevity in this niche market is by how well we could withstand the bullshit, because there's so much of it. So with all that said, the way One Stop Hits came together was, first off, it took me a while to really find my brand. I went through maybe 2 or 3 different producer names until I finally settled with One Stop Hits. And I just liked One Stop Hits the most because it relates to me in so many different ways. Mostly people that are from New York are going to understand this. That's where I'm from. I was born and raised on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and I lived there for the first 27 years of my life, and I'm here in LA now. I moved here in February, so getting acclimated to the different lifestyle of LA. But anyway, in New York, those of you familiar with New York, there's a subway system, and within the subway system, there is the one train. And the one train is the red line. It's a red circle with a 1 in it. And that is the line that I was born and raised on, and use that line to commute to everything between doctor's appointments, school, camp, all that. So it's weird because what happened was I've just had such an allegiance with New York City that I went and got the one train tattooed on me. And this was way before One Stop Hits. And I just got it, and it was like part of this New York sleeve that like I'm going to be working on or whatever. But I was going through a point where I definitely wanted to change my name and my brand and remarket myself. And I just couldn't figure out what it was. And then it just hit me one day because I was like, I want to market myself as the one-stop shop for beats. And then like, I thought to myself, like, I literally looked down like at the tattoo of my arm, like just randomly, and it like literally clicked like a light bulb. It was just like, wait a minute, like one-stop shop. And then there's a stop on the one train, like, you know, one stop hits. I could, instead of it being a round red circle, it could be in the shape of a stop sign. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I rolled with it. I rolled with it immediately. And then in that same breath, I was like, I want to sell drum kits too. One stop kits with a K. It's just one letter off. Oh my God, it's amazing. So like, you know, I had this party in my head for a while about it. And then I put it to work.
It's genius. I love the branding. It's so smart. And it's so simple too, you know. It like I think that's if people overthink branding, they don't understand like it could be simple and something memorable and just a stop sign with a one in it. I love it.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I think my favorite thing about the brand is that all the words within it are pretty generic. And I think that that's because with brands, you don't want to have, in my personal opinion, you wouldn't want to have something that's like too far gone because you want like the general public to sort of be able to digest it immediately and understand it, which I believe my brand does. But, you know, I suppose, you know, everybody, including myself, we're all like our big, so like, you know, we go through our demons on whether or not it's good. But when you do find a brand that you are comfortable with, my best advice would just be to go for it and just push it hard and see how the market takes it.
Okay, awesome. Good advice. Okay, so you talked a little bit about how you spent too long time in the analysis paralysis. And
Yeah.
just kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me back also, because the original question was what were like the hurdles that I faced, and you just brought up one of the biggest ones, analysis paralysis. I just learned the saying like a couple months ago, and I just think it's cool, so I'm saying it all the time. But it's true, and it is the biggest problem, and it is the biggest thing that's going to hinder you from going forward. And before I get to analysis paralysis, I'll address the first question just because there are a lot of hurdles. We could start with one. When you have your beats and you have your brand and your brand ideas, I should say, and you're ready to kind of bring it to life, if you don't have any background in graphic design, you're going to need to hire a good graphic design. Even if you do have a little bit of background in graphic design, you might as well hire a good graphic designer to do it, just because it's labor off your back. And, you know, you could have somebody that's professionally doing it every day to do the job for you. You just have more faith in it. So you're going to have to invest in a graphic designer, whether it's for, you know, your website or for, you know, some sliders on your website or however you're doing it. Because I know with these days, WordPress is becoming pretty easy. So the average person you could build yourself up a pretty good beat website in WordPress with very little knowledge. And if you have it, you get stuck on anything, you know, YouTube University is the real. So, one of my biggest hurdles was finding the right graphic designers and knowing who to trust and invest my time with. And one thing that is extremely unfortunate about this online producer niche is that the graphic designers out here are finesse kings, man. They're terrible. Like really, and when I say that, I'm being for real. Like 95% of them are like not genuine. They are never on time, and they're super quick and happy to take your money right up front, and then they will literally sit on your project for weeks, months. You have to hound them down. It's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and it really sucks actually, because when you're building your brand from the ground up, you've kind of like they have your balls in their hands. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't make any moves. Sorry, you can't make any moves though towards building yourself up, because you're waiting on the most important thing, like about you, you know, and it's a problem. And I find that a lot of these graphic designers really don't they're not understanding just how serious and critical it is to like just even if you're going to take a while, just say what day it's going to be done by and stick to that day. Like, just be real about it. And you know, they would get so many more customers too. And you know, I think it would be a lot better for them if they played the game better. But at the same time, you know, they also kind of know that they are, you know, they're the shit in the game and that people are going to need them. So they kind of use that to their advantage, in my opinion, personally. But so there's graphic designers. That's one. So just be very careful with who you hire for graphic design, and don't be afraid to file a chargeback if they don't come through with your work on time. I'm serious, because like we got to stop letting them get away with this bullshit out here. But that's them. The next thing that was a big hurdle was putting my trust and faith into people that self-proclaim to be these know-it-alls with selling your beats online and flourishing off your beats. And what was happening was I was searching it on Google and trying to find the short ticket out, you know, and I had money saved up to start this business with. And the first sort of thing I was thinking in my head is like, where can I throw money at? And I would look up all these different people that had these like beat selling ebooks and video tutorials and paid webinars, not free webinars, like paid webinars. You got to pay like $100 to enter, and all these things. And I'm not going to mention names, but they know who they are and you know who they are if you look hard enough. But these people are everywhere, and just don't trust them, man. And not only don't trust them, stay away from them, because what they're doing is they're selling you a dream, and they're trying to collect your money based off of this success thing that they're pushing at you, and they're telling you you're going to make 6 figures in 30 days and all. It's all crap. And don't follow it, and don't blow your money on it, because that money is perfectly good money to be spent on your advertising when when you're ready to not dip your toes in the water anymore and just dive into the business. And furthermore, the other reason why you should just totally leave those guys alone altogether is because the main reason is everybody's road to the top, so to speak, for producers is completely different. Some people may be on a similar path, or you may see a group of producers huddled around like one outlet, to compete with each other and try and get sales or whatever. But it really is different for everybody. Like, not everybody's going to kill it on YouTube, but they'll kill it on Google AdWords. You know what I mean? And not everybody's going to kill it on BeatStars, but they'll kill it on beats1.com. And like, not everyone's going to kill it off of Instagram, but they may kill it off of Twitter. Like, and not everyone's going to kill it off of Facebook, but then they may like have these banners running on this hip hop blog that brings them a lot of sales, and they just kill it off that. There's a lot of different ways. There's so many different ways that you can approach this and attack it. And the real advice that you got to do is straight up trial and error. Test with little amounts of money, invest in yourself, but it's advertising. I'm just going to keep it as simple as that. You need to get the attention of the traffic, and we don't have to make it more complicated than going and doing good market research on where your traffic goes, and then spending money on those outlets to get the traffic to come to you. And that really is the game in a nutshell. Everyone's going to tell you different and say that they have secrets or specific things that you have to do in order to, and the truth is there isn't. There really isn't. There are no secrets. There's nothing crazy. You just got to keep banging out beats and work hard and grind.
Yeah, totally. It's all about having a good product and getting as much traffic as you can to that website. And if your stuff is good, you're going to make money. And your stuff is definitely amazing. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, you can do so later. So you talked a little bit about advertising, and you really found your lane, I would say, with creating beats for specifically hip hop and rap type artists. So I think that's really also part of your success, right? When people buy from you once, they like, know, and trust that you give out good beats, and they're going to come back to you. Can you talk a little bit about how you actually set up your how much you charge people for beats? Can you talk about your strategy for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my pricing structure is one that you will find if you're searching other producers online as well, or seeing other places. My prices are very similarly in line with other ones that you see. Um, I have my one-stop license, which is the equivalent of a premium lease. I don't do just straight up MP3 leases because I just don't believe in it. I feel like if an artist is going to spend money on a beat, they should by default get a WAV quality file. And that's just my personal opinion. A lot of producers still do a very like bare basic lease for $10 or $15 of just the MP3. That's fine. Do whatever you want. I just don't do that. So for the one-stop license, you get an MP3 and a WAV file for each beat, and it's $30, and it's buy one get three free. And I know that sounds like crazy, but unfortunately, in this game, you do have to offer. I mean, it's not even that unfortunate, honestly, because you're always making beats and you're always going to be working on more stuff, and your inventory is big for a reason. It's so that people can feel like, not even feel like, it's so that you can give people more, because, that's what the consumers deserve, honestly. I mean, it just makes somebody feeling better knowing like, oh my God, this dude's got like really dope beats and I could get 4 of them for the price of one. That's an entire EP right there, They could place one order and be like, word, my EP's done. So
exactly. And that's like, to me, a no-brainer. And that's what you want. You want people to feel like they're really getting a lot for their money's worth. And also, you have good music, you have good options for people to choose from as well. It's not like you only have like 5 beats on your site. You have how many up there usually at a time?
Well, okay. I have just under 50 right now. I would say the best number of beats to have on your site would be, you should have at least 35, I'd say. I'd say 35 is a good number. You don't want to have too little, but you don't, and you do want to, I mean, having an overabundance of beats is never really a problem. There's people with beat stores online that have hundreds and hundreds. And if you want to just let it build out, more power to you. I think with me personally, when I hit 75 beats in my store, I'll start, because that's what I've been doing, is usually when I hit about 50, I'll shave out like 10 or 15, or I'll run a clearance on them to like, just to, level out the inventory. So I'm going to probably keep my inventory level at like between 50 and 75 at all times. And the other license that I sell is it's called the Unlimited Pass, and it costs $99. It's the same thing, buy one, get 3 free. But the difference is that with the Unlimited Pass, you're getting all of the trackouts for each of the beats. And for those unfamiliar, trackouts are just they're just WAV file stems, and it's every layer of the beat. So like the hi-hat, the crash, the snare, the kick drum, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. I think that's awesome. I mean, I think it's a great deal. Let's talk a little bit about how you actually are able to create this many beats, because I didn't realize that the way your licensing works, technically, you can have thousands of people buy the same beat unless they buy the exclusive license. So just talk a little bit about how that works and how you actually, your process for creating your music. How do you do it?
Sure. Right. So basically with the exclusive licensing, I flip-flop back and forth with that for a long time. There was a period of time where I wasn't even selling beats exclusively at all, and that was for 2 reasons. One, because I didn't want to get my inventory damaged. I didn't have enough beats up at the time, and it just didn't make sense for me to like have them sell exclusively, and I'm down from like 15 beats to 10. You know what I'm saying? It was also during a period of time where I just was not cranking out the same output of music that I'm doing now. So I just couldn't, it didn't make sense for me. But Now I offer beats exclusively. And basically with exclusive rights, the thing about exclusive rights is you're still, artists that are purchasing exclusive rights, they're still not getting the copyrights to the instrumental. I still own those copyrights. And when you're getting exclusive rights, the only differentiator there is between my exclusive rights and the unlimited pass is that with the exclusive rights, once it's sold to you, I remove it from all of my social and Beat Store platforms and YouTube. I just take it, it disappears. And no one can buy it, no one can lease it after that. But that also doesn't take away that if you bought the beat exclusively and that beat's been up online for a while, you do run the risk of beat that has been sold a good, 50 to 100 times prior. So that's just, that's at the artist's personal discretion. I mean, by now, most artists that shop online are aware of this and they know it. And they're still willing to invest in an exclusive beat because they want to stop all sales of the beat from that day, and they want to be the ones that make it something really dope. And I'm, I can't knock that, and that's why I put them back on for sale. But my prices on exclusives are high, and they're high for a reason. It makes sense for my business. Not only is it an inventory issue, but I mean, there are certain beats themselves that I am promoting, and it costs me money to promote that. So if, I'm promoting for 3 days straight and spending like, $400 promoting it, and then someone buys it for $500, I mean, yeah, the $100 profit is nice, but it was like a lot of days of work to get that. And we have to treat our hustle like a business like anybody else does,
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of people discount the fact that you have to promote and spend money to make money.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. You have to pay to play. That's the game. That is the game. Everybody shies away from that. Everybody tries to make it like there's this other way around and easy and doesn't require you to like break your back. And then you got the people like, and even I'm guilty because I said it earlier in this conversation, but you got the people that are like, just work hard, man. And like, you got it. Yeah, of course work has part to do with it, but you got to pay to play. You have to have money to put up, or else you're not. I mean, if you do get anywhere, it's either some viral miracle or it's just going to take a really long time of organic telemarketing, so to speak, which most people hate. So
can you talk a little bit more about how you actually develop your sounds and just kind of go through that process?
Yes, absolutely. And in that, I'll also answer your last question too. Basically, with the way I make beats now, I will get in this habit where, because I'm just trying to eliminate beat block. In the producer community, we call it beat block. To everybody else, it's writer's block, right? But I'm trying to eliminate and eradicate beat block from my life. So what happens is I will wake up in the morning and I'll sit right at my desk and I'll start working. And I usually 9 times out of 10, I'm starting with the drums first on my beats. So I'll put together a nice little drum loop, probably add like 6 or 7 layers on it and just sit with it, vibe out. If I like it, I'll keep going with it. If I sort of feel like I'm losing my steam with it and I'm not really caring about it anymore, I save the session, put it to the side, bam, open a new one off the bat. So there I'm working on a new one, putting some drums together, vibing out, catching the vibe. Do I like it? Oh, okay. Maybe I'll add on to it, maybe not. Save the session, throw it away, or not throw it away, put it on the desktop, and then load up another one. And so usually on Monday every week, I'll have about 7 or 8 beats started that like each of them are all just like either 4 or 8 bar loops with like 7 or 8 drums on it. And I'll just have those started. Then Tuesday, I'll sort of go back in on all of them little by little, or if one of them is just something that I feel like I'm getting the juice, then I'll finish that. So it goes like that. And usually by about Friday, it's usually safe to say I could have about 5 beats done. So it's typically, you know, I could either do it that way or I could do it on like make a full beat every day, because I really like to put time into my work. You know, there have been beats that I've put together in 2 hours and they've come out dope. Sometimes I'll catch those little streaks and get lucky, but most of the time I'm definitely going to spend like 7 or 8 hours on one beat. So, you know, yeah, I'm happy. I'm not trying to like aim stupid high, like for goals that are just unrealistic. I'm trying to like stay within a dope sound and put out, it just slow and steady wins the race. Right. So,
And what do you
if I can put out 5, I'm happy.
What do you use to create your beats? Do you use anything like any hardware or software specifically?
Yeah, the DAW that I use for creating beats is Ableton Live. I have tried pretty much all of the DAWs. I think the only DAW I have not tried is Reaper. I think the only other DAW for beat making and production, hip hop production in general, that I would ever stack alongside with Ableton would be FL Studio. But I'm a Mac user, and ImageLine is slacking on that native Mac version. But they are in alpha testing now, so that's what's up. When they come out with a native Mac version, I'll bounce back on that for a little bit and do my thing. But Ableton is my go-to. And I was on Pro Tools making beats for a long time, and Pro Tools is horrible for making beats. I don't recommend that to anybody in terms of making beats. The Ableton is just amazing. Automation, all of that, it's just so neat and tidy. It's a couple clicks. It's incredible. It's definitely my favorite. The interface, the GUI on it's kind of ugly, but it's a sick program. I put my stamp on it.
All right, awesome. So I guess the last thing, can you just talk a little bit on a specific problem that you faced? I know you mentioned in the past how you kind of got trapped with also someone creating your website and some social media strategies. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it. I just don't want to get too in depth, because I'm not trying to step on people's toes. You know what I mean? I don't want to put people on blast. I don't want to say names out loud. Because these people, they got families and they got lives of their own and shit. And like, I'm trying to just stay in my lane and do me. But I mean, I am going to be honest. You know, if that person is watching or whatever, I did waste a good deal of money and time with a person, designing my websites and giving me consulting as far as selling beats was concerned. And you know, when I think back and look at all the money that I invested in him, I mean, I just think of how much better that money would have done me if I had put it into the avenues that I know now. And you know, unfortunately, with most of the information I got from him, it wasn't any different than the information I'm providing right now in this free webinar. And it wasn't any different from information that really is, you know, directly in front of your face. And that's why I kind of went on a whole tangent before about, you know, really staying away from these beat selling, making money in 30 days guys, you know, because their entire hustle is banked around your dreams. You know, and they only care about selling you that dream. Once they've sold it, I mean, they're not gonna tell you anything you can't find out pretty easily, quickly. So I got stuck with that for a while. And not to mention, you know, I was also, I mean, I'll give the man credit. He's a great salesman. He's a great salesman, excellent salesman. And what happened was, between him being a really good salesman and me just being extremely nice and polite, I kind of just got trapped in a whirlwind, you know, and I could have and should have like just totally took all my chips off the table and said, fuck it, cut my losses and moved on. But, you know, I was so invested at the time that I just wanted to get something finished and just something done. So it held me back and it stopped me. And that's why I make the message really clear that doing your due diligence when it comes to finding graphic designers, and also just researching your avenues that you're going to invest your time and your money into. Just do your due diligence, man. Definitely do it.
Yeah, I just wanted to like, I guess, highlight the fact that, you know, you have to definitely know who you're going to business with and research them, know exactly what you're getting yourself into. If you don't have contracts, definitely have contracts, because you want to make sure that at the end of the day, at least they're held accountable. Okay, let's also talk just a little bit to give people a perspective of how long did it actually take you from start to finish to get to the point now where you're able to actually live off of making beats?
It took me of going super hard, like hard in the paint, waka flocka. It took me a full year, and that's going hard every day. That's 9 to 5 every day for a full year, not making any money whatsoever, or any money you are making is just change. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, the one thing about like this niche and producing online and stuff is that you have to eat shit for a while, man. You have to eat shit for a long time, and it takes a while to build the fans. And the one thing is, it comes back to like the whole paying to play, but it's not only just paying to play. You got to be willing and ready to lose some money and be okay with it, which is hard for a lot of people, and I can't blame them.
Totally, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, well, if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop them into the chat box to the right. And Austin, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that I missed?
Oh, the 40 minutes flew by. I can't believe how fast we're going here.
I know it does fly by. All right, so if there's no questions, I'm gonna tell you guys about the free bonuses. I'm gonna pop them into the sidebar right now, so stay tuned for those. There will be a little delay. The first one is Austin was nice enough to give you guys a discount if you want to purchase any of his beats. You can click the link. It'll say get this offer now, and you can click on it. It will take you to the website in a new bar. The discount code is webinar25, so capital WEBINAR 25. That's the discount. You'll get 25% off a one-stop license and unlimited pass. So that offer is good, and for you guys, it's a thank you for coming on to the webinar.
And then also, I might have missed it. Did you hit them with one-stop kits also? Because I got the same code for that for producers.
Yeah, it's the same code. It didn't load for some reason, but if you go to onestopkits.com, it's the same code as well for there. It didn't load. I guess I did it after I started the broadcast, so that's why it's not appearing. But if you want to get the offer, you can. All right, so I'm going to take it down right now. And then I wanted to also offer another freebie. Also before that, I'm going to load. If you guys want to follow Austin, he's going to be posting YouTube videos for the next 30 days at least, consistently one a day.
Yeah, I'll be consistently putting out new content every day from here on YouTube. I've had a bunch of different swings at YouTube, and I've struck out a few times, and I was off of it for a while, and my channel was dormant, and it still technically is, but I'm back now, and I'll have new videos up every day now from now going forward, whether it be beats or a tutorial or a vlog. Anything. So definitely subscribe to me on YouTube because it's about to get lit.
Awesome. Yeah, YouTube is a great strategy for artists because not only are you making money on the views, right? You're also making money through advertising.
Yeah, the monetization is dope. I mean, it's in comparison to what you'll be getting in lease sales off of using YouTube. I mean, it's it's, you know, on the lower scale, it's change, but either way, you know, every penny counts. It's good.
And then do you also have an email list for people to subscribe to anywhere?
Yeah, if you go to onestopits.com/free-beats, you can sign up to my mailing list there. Sorry, I had to think about the URL in my head. But yes, you could sign up there to get on my mailing list, and you do get a free beat for signing up. And the same thing goes for onestopkits.com. If you go to that website, look for the free drum kit tab, sign up through there, get a free drum kit, we'll party.
Awesome. And then I also have an offer for anyone who hasn't already seen this before or doesn't know anything about me. I actually own a magazine, which is called EDM World Magazine. We decided to come together, me and my team, and create a free guide. It's called 14 Proven Ways to Meet Your Favorite DJ. And these are all proven tactics. They're all stories I've gotten from other people. Some of them have been ways I've met my favorite DJ. So these are just great tactics for you to learn and how to network. Networking is really important. And I'm sure, Austin, you can talk a little bit on that. How has networking impacted your business?
Hugely. I mean, when you're an online music producer, that's kind of your networking's your lifeline right there. But what's more important is not just the word networking itself, because people hear networking and they're like, okay, network. So that means I could just spam everybody's inbox and everybody's Twitter DMs and Instagram DMs and network because I'm networking, right? Wrong. Not networking. Learn how to network properly and actually give it the time and give a shit about who you're talking to. Please ask to listen to their music. Actually care. Networking is a beautiful thing when you care about it. When you don't care about it, it shows and everybody sees that. Please do not get on an automated, like, auto reply, auto message when they friend request you and all that. Please don't do that stuff. Be a person, talk to them, and you'll get a lot further.
Yeah, I think like what people misunderstand networking, they just think, oh, I'm just going to spam everyone like you said. But really what networking is, it's like you're building a relationship, right? You don't go up to someone and say like, will you sleep with me? No, you ask them like, hey, let me know about you. Where are you from? What do you do? Like, you know, it's really the same idea. And I know it's a funny example, but it's true. Like, that's how real networking is done. You create a relationship and eventually that's how things lead down the path, right? You don't just immediately like ask for the sale. And we did this here too, right? Austin gave some really great tips and advice. And now we're giving you guys some free bonuses. We're not even really asking for a sale. We just gave you some discounts. But it's the same idea. So
I'm also like in conjunction with what you're saying that I also like I wanted to do this interview because I want to genuinely help out other people in the community. It's really been what I've been about from day one. I mean, yeah, I'm like plugging my brand and everything like that, but at the end of the day, I just want to make a difference, and that's as real as it can get. It really, for the people that are tuned in, if you don't like purchase anything or shop with me or do business with me, it's never beef. Like I'm just trying to build. That's all.
right. And I know you said that you obviously were from New York City. Has there been any difference between you being in New York and now being in LA? Has that impacted anything at all?
Besides my entire life. Oh man, a lot. It's the lifestyle is completely different out here. And I am really happy that I did it. I love New York. I always will love New York. I most likely will end up back living in New York within the next few years. It's good. It's home and it will always be home, and I am coming back. But LA is a beautiful place and the weather's fantastic and the laws are a lot more favorable for people like me and the life choices that people like me make. And we have the beach and I have a car that I could get into and be in my own bubble. See, in New York, you don't have any privacy. You're on the train all the time. You're here, you're there, you're walking next to people on the street. I got my car, I got my radio. I'm Gucci.
So you didn't move out you didn't move out to LA for music purposes? I think you
Of
said it was more
course.
for
Oh, of
family.
course. Of course. I know I have a lot of, I mean, I have a lot of connects out here, and I'm building a lot more by the day. It's actually, yeah, to get into that part of it, it's amazing. I've accomplished so much more just being here in the 6 months than I was in New York for all my time. But to be fair, as far as entertainment and music is concerned, I personally don't hold New York to be very far different from LA at all. I think it's both the same thing. Like that's why it wasn't primarily if. Of course, I have music connects in LA that I wanted to like pursue further going to LA, but you can't like leave New York and say I'm going to LA to do music. Like you have music in New York, you have plenty of a scene in New York. So I moved to, if we're gonna just be real, yeah, the music was part of it, but I moved to get away from those cold ass winters and those hot ass summers and those high ass taxes and that high ass rent. I moved to get away from that for a little bit so that I could collect my thoughts, build up my business, and then when my business gets to a point where it was like super profitable, I could come back and actually afford to live in New York and live comfortably and happily. So that's kind of the story.
Have you collaborated with any artists making beats?
Well, I've collaborated with producers. Like I've collaborated with Ice British, Mob Hussein, who's actually, I believe he's signed to 808 Mafia now, which is cool. Jay Kanan, Diesel Beats, which I got to shout out Diesel Beats really quick. Diesel Beats has a studio in White Plains called Union Music Studio, and he's extremely good at what he does. He'll make beats for you. He'll track your vocals. He'll mix and master your songs. White Plains. I don't have the exact address in my head, but please look up Diesel Music, Diesel Beats. And yeah, holler at him. Shout out to him.
All right. Well, thanks for giving someone on the East Coast, at least someone they can reach out to since you're on the West Coast. If someone wanted to contact you, do you have an email address that they can reach out to you, or what's the best way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, my two best ways to contact me are either at onestopits@gmail.com, and all of that is spelled normally, onestopits@gmail.com. And then also I allow both artists and producers to text my line, so that's 917-545-1992. If you have any inquiries, questions about anything, text me. I'll respond.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to leave off with?
Besides thanking you for allowing me to hit up this interview and share what I can, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming as well. To everyone who's been on the webinar, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You will get an email with the replay as well, so look out for that. And we'll see you guys on the next webinar. Have a great night. Bye, guys.
Peace, 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 peace.